Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome to Several Children TV. My name is Charles, and I am back with a new video. Yesterday I was going to go live, but I got too late and I was quite busy, so I just chose to do it today. So happy Friday. I would have posted Thursday, but again I was quite busy, so we're going to drop these videos today. Today, I have 17 stories. 17 that we're going to talk about. And the first one comes out of Jamestown, New York, which is not far from Buffalo, New York. A Jamestown man has been arrested after fentanyl was found in an apartment around his two children. His name is Luis Torres Cortez. So Jamestown, New York is going to take an air. A Jamestown man is facing drug and child endangerment charges after police searched an apartment on Hazard Street. During the search, which took place on the afternoon of April 10th, members of the Jamestown Metro Drug Task Force found Luis M. Torres Cortez, 39, and two children. Inside, they said cash, scales, drug paraphernalia, and nearly 16 grams of fentanyl were found. Cortez, who was arrested and taken into custody, was charged with criminal possession of a controlled substance, criminally using drug paraphernalia, and 2 counts of endangering the welfare of a child. Here's a news video. I'm gonna play it. Hold on for a second. Yeah. So this one news video on it, but I'm giving my closing thoughts about this particular story. Fentanyl is a deadly drug. Okay, a deadly drug that can kill anyone less than a minute. And the fact that you have deadly drugs and drug paraphernalia in your home and you're dealing with children surprises me. And knowing that you have two children, knowing that you live in an apartment, knowing that you have no self respect for your children or your family to bring in to your home drugs around your two children is so outrageous and tells me that you do not care about the safety of your children. And what woman allows herself to allow a man to do this type of stuff? There's no way in the world that drugs should have been in that home among children. It's reckless. Fentanyl can kill a person in a heartbeat, and you have two children who are seeing their father dealing and doing drugs. Good parenting, very good parenting. The courts needs to throw the ball at you. They needs to throw the book at you, and then you need to go to prison because there's no way that this was normal at all. The drug charges alone should give you 5 years in prison. The endangerment charges, 2 counts, should each be a separate 5 year sentences because the reckless conduct that you did is outrageous and it's reckless. You could have killed them children, you could have killed yourself, anybody, because you bringing deadly fentanyl in your home. It's a shame on you. We're glad that these kids are okay. We're glad that they OD on those fentanyl. You got held to fentanyl because you such a dirtbag that you didn't care about your children's safety. People like that don't need to be around children. But the known drug addict should not be around children. And that's what I have to say about this particular story. So let's move on to our next story, which is Georgia. So Georgia's gonna take an L. Let me look it up and get straight into it. This story, next story, is wild, crazy, wild. I'm on Cairo7.com. That's where I got the article from. A Georgia father has just been sentenced to 50 years in prison for putting antifreeze in his newborn daughter's breast milk into her bottle. South Fulton, Georgia is going to take it now. A Georgia, a, a man received a 50-year prison sentence in connection with the 2020 poisoning of his infant daughter in South Fulton, Georgia. Tyler was 18 months old. I mean, 18 days old. 18 days old. The city of South Farm Police Department said that Curtis Jack was sentenced to 50 years, with 40 of them to be served in custody after he was found guilty on all counts. He brought the milk to the baby's grandmother, who was also taking care of the woman's other child. The news outlet reported the baby got very sick over the next 24 hours and was believed that the child was possibly poisoned. The incident happened on October the 1st, 2020. Police said Jack went to pick up bottles of breast milk from his child's mother, who was in the hospital following the baby's birth, according to WSB TV. The baby was born on September the 24th, 2020. Police said that Police said that Jack reportedly admitted to investigators that he added antifreeze to the breast milk. He claimed that he didn't want to pay child support for the baby. WSB reported. Detectives told the news outlet that Jack had a job that paid well, so they were confused about Jack's motive. It hit home because it was an 18-day-old baby. South Front Police Sergeant Posada Dickerson told WSB. The baby's mother and Jack had reportedly been together since January of 2020, according to the news station. Police indicated that Jack had tried to insist that the woman terminate her pregnancy. So you have a black male black father, supposed father, who, because he didn't want to pay child support, so he chose to put antifreeze in his 18-day-old child's breast milk bottle, and the baby ended up getting sick. And he was sentenced to 50 years in prison. 40 of those must be served behind bars. I'm going to assume that 10 is going to be on um, post release. He should have got life without parole because the reckless conduct that this father did, he could have killed his child because he put chemicals, poisoned chemicals, in his child's breast milk because he didn't want to pay child support. Well, sir, if you didn't want to pay child support, you shouldn't lay down and create a child. That's what happened when you lay down and create a child. You pay child support. But because you chose to be a coward and poison your own child and attempt to kill your child is what should have got you life in prison. And if I was that, and I hope the mother of the child, okay, put a restraining order against you. So whenever you release from prison after doing your time, you would never be able to be around that child for the safety of that child. And I don't think that you should have any custody of that child. You're a danger to that child and to society to poison a child like that. And when you get to prison and they hear about what you did to your child, not gonna make it in prison because they don't like child abusers in prison. They don't like people who do things to children, harm them, So good luck when you get to Georgia State Penitentiary because they're not going to uh, play around with you. They're going to get you every single chance they get. Now, well wishes to the child, and we're glad the family got justice. So, let's move on to our next story. I'm on Atlanta Black Star. Mississippi is going to take an L for this next story. Mississippi teacher rescues 15-year-old who was allegedly being choked by a resource officer who dragged teen into blind spot as she walked back to class. A Mississippi school resource officer was reportedly fired after a 15-year-old student claimed the employee physically and verbally attacked her. This is like a Katana Francois said the alleged assault occurred earlier this month on April the 4th when she tried to use the bathroom after giving approval from a teacher, WJTV reported. In addition to cussing at her, the Nichols Middle School 8th grader accused the officer of choking and dragging her down the hallway. Now her mother, Alexis Davis, is calling for justice and she plans to take legal action. According to Davis, the teen needed water to take medication for a medical condition. That I'm hurt. I felt empty. I don't know. I got a heart. I don't even know if it's beating, but I know I'm awake. I'm in a nightmare, and it ain't right. Davis told WJTV, and if I knew that they really hated my child, I would never let my child go. I would never let her go there. And that's why I keep telling her that I'm sorry. Canton Public School District officials launched an investigation into the incident, resulting in the officer's termination. In a statement to WAPT, Superintendent Gary Hannon said after conducting a thorough investigation, it was discovered that the resource officer had failed to adhere to proper procedures and protocols. Consequently, the Nichols Middle School resource officer was terminated. During a sit down with the news station, Francois said, I thought I was going to die. She claimed the officers grabbed her jacket, arm, and hair, resulting in a bald spot. That's when she took me into the blind spot, the teen claimed, reportedly adding that other students and teachers saw the assault. She pushed my head against the wall, she grabbed my neck, and she started choking me. According to WAPT, a teacher was able to help Francois. Her mother was notified and went to the school. When Davis arrived at the scene, she discovered Francois in handcuffs. Children told me my baby was screaming down the hallway, and you know what comes to mind. George Floyd, Davis said. Francois' attorney Carlos Moore said that the school has video footage of the incident that he's trying to obtain. The family plans to file a lawsuit against the school and city. The resource officer is also a Canton police officer. Frances is your typical teenager. She's not disrespectful and she never had a problem, Davis said during a press conference. Another school employee recently came under fire, scrutiny, for dragging a student down the hallway in a similar fashion. Former Tips Elementary School teacher Amber Hall pleaded guilty to charges in connection to how she handled a special needs student in September of 2022. I'm gonna say this: when we hire police officers, aka resource officers, to protect the children in school, their job is not to verbally, physically, emotionally abuse the children in the custody. Just because you're hired to work at a school as a resource officer, you still have a job with the police department. And assaulting someone in that fashion is not the way to handle things. If you got permission to leave class to handle something, then you shouldn't then go and abuse your power and start abusing children in your custody. And I don't think this is the first time. I don't think this is the first time that you abused children in your custody. It's not the first time. It's not gonna be the last time. But I'm glad that you did lost your job. I'm glad you was terminated because you shouldn't work around children if you're going to abuse children if their heels out. Um, it's not the job for you. But the school district is at fault here for hiring somebody that they knew was capable of the job. Um, you got to start doing background checks on these resource officers are hiring because a lot of them have a background. They shouldn't be working in these schools around children. But again, school systems are so broken, and I don't believe it's the first time she ever attacked a child at that school. So again, we wish to that to the victim and to the family and yeah, sue. Now let's move on to our next story. See, a 12-year-old out of Buffalo, New York, was found dead in a house in an attic on the south side. We're gonna talk about it. I'm on WWB News 4. Let's talk about it. Fortunately, I'm going to have to get Buffalo, New York, air the story. South Buffalo house where Jalen Griffin was found dead is no stranger to law enforcement, neighbors say. A residence at 107 Sheffield Avenue is where the body of 12-year-old Jalen Griffin was found Friday after nearly 4 years search for him. Those who live in the South Buffalo neighborhood said the area is relatively quiet, but the house where Griffin was found is no stranger to law enforcement. The homicide investigation into who killed Jalen Griffin is underway. Griffin had been last seen at a corner store near his Warren Avenue home on August 4th, 2020, and was officially reported missing 2 days later. The search for Griffin came to a tragic end after he was found dead inside 107 Sheffield. According to police dispatch transcripts from Friday, Griffin's body was discovered in the attic of the multi-unit house by a maintenance man. Buffalo Police Commissioner Joseph Gramaglia said the medical examiner confirmed that the body was indeed Griffin's through dental records. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna say this like this. One, somebody know what happened. Somebody know who did this. Somebody know the reason behind it. Somebody know who killed them. And my thing is that I believe there's multiple people involved because how do a body get from outside to up in an attic, which means you had to have multiple people or accomplices in this crime. But it's a sad thing that a 12-year-old, talking about a 12-year-old went through this type of demise, was brutally killed, and then was carried into a house in an attic. And I won't put it past you that there were probably teens involved in this, or young adults involved in this, between the ages of 17 and 20. But this is very horrible. And to throw away someone like trash is unbelievable. And you have to ask yourself, what was this about? What was this over? What could this two-year have done to deserve to be brutally killed? This was heinous, and whoever responsible needs to be held accountable about justice. This is tragic, heartbreaking, and I'm going to ask anybody who have seen anything suspicious that day to call the police and report this. If anybody know who did this to Jalen Griffin, call the Buffalo Police Department, because you could be the one to give this family the justice they deserve, to give the victim, Jalen, the justice he deserves. So if you see something, say something. This crime happened on 107 Sheffield Avenue, South Buffalo. Which I believe is off of McKinley Parkway. Around that area, I believe. So I believe it's off of McKinley. So, if anybody seen anything suspicious, report it. Hello? I'm on postnews.com, NewYorkPost.com. Mom, who admitted to smothering toddler while high on meth, walks free thanks to controversial judge. This is the mother. Indiana's will take a big L for this story. An Indianapolis mother who admitted to fatally smothering her baby while high on meth became overwhelmed and hid her face in her hands when a controversial judge allowed her to walk free. Dacia Lacey, 32, is found not guilty of neglect of a dependent, resulting in 2022 death of her daughter, Olona, by Judge Mike Stunner, who's already facing calls to resign after giving a mentally ill man who fatally shot a police officer a sentence of time served, WTHR reported. The mom was cleared even though the judge told her it was a case that happens when you're a bad parent. There are some things you can never do. You can never have sole possession of your children and go out and use drugs, Stunner said. You're not innocent, but you're not guilty of what the state has charged you with. Lacey, who faced up to 40 years in prison if convicted, dropped her head as Stone dropped her head as Stoner told her that he found her not guilty in the bench trial. The mom, wearing a bright yellow prison suit, pursed her lips and squeezed her eyes shut as if to stop tears before she placed her head in her hands. Stoner noticed that there was no evidence to prove the change Lacey was facing, neglect of dependent resulting in death. Not everything that a mistake or everything that is wrong is criminal, Stoner said. Something has to be done with criminal intent, criminal responsibility, and that's what the defendant is charged with. When the state chooses to charge an individual, they must prove they did something with criminal intent. Poor parenting, by definition, is not criminal. There was no sign of neglect of a dependent, like broken bones or other injuries that would signify long time abuse. The pathologist was also unable to provide a causal manner of death for the baby. It is important to understand that the prosecutor chooses the charges. It's the prosecutor that elected. The prosecutor had a screening division to make decisions as to what should be charged. Student added. Court records show that Lacey gave police a lengthy confession detailing through tears how she smothered her daughter because she was high on meth and wanted her to stop crying so she could go get some sleep. During the trial, investigators learned that Lacey's other daughter, who was three at the time of Alona's death, witnessed her mother taking a pill and smothering the baby. Toxicology reports showed methamphetamine in Lacey's system in the day her baby died. And the judge just lets her walk from which should have been a murder charge. But the sad part about it, at the time, her 3-year-old child witnessed a brutal smothering, a brutal and fatal smothering. And yet she gets to get up and walk out the court with no charges. Mm. That judge needs to be terminated, fired, and charged. For malpractice while in office. Because to allow someone who killed their child to walk out of the courtroom, a free woman, after a 3-year-old child at the time witnessed her sister be smothered to death, that family now is going to relive that that trauma that judge put on that family. We're not convicted of that, and she also has been convicted of intentional homicide and given between 40 and 50 years in prison because she intentionally smothered her child. And the first time this judge did this, clearly this judge don't know what he's doing, and he shouldn't be on the bench. And that's just it. So I'm going to stop there for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. We have 12 more stories we're going to do on Monday. And it's 6 out of 17, 6 to 17. Everyone have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. And I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm going to post again tomorrow on the crying time. So you're going to have crying time tonight, tomorrow, and then tonight also I'm gonna post on outlining our community channel. So watch out for that. And have a good weekend. And I'll see you guys on Monday for our restaurant our stories for Save Our Children TV. Bye bye. Hit the subscribe button, thumbs up button, hit that cash app, money sign CPA 106, capital C, money sign capital C PA 106. Hit it, hit that cash app.